Alright, so there is this potential DC Warner Brothers buyout approaching in the near-ish future, it seems like. And there are a couple potential buyers. We've got Saudi Arabia interested, who bought EA recently, and we've got Netflix interested. And because of this buyout, there are rumours going around that we could see the Snyderverse coming back and Zack Snyder coming back to DC. So let's get into it. So the Snyderverse could potentially return if a few factors align, and if that were to happen, there are 3 ways in which the DC franchise could return, though I believe only one of them would make sense. Zack Snyder's 3 DC movies and his vision for the DCEU movie franchise proved divisive. However, he gained a loyal following over the years. It was because of those fans that Zack Snyder's Justice League was released in 2021 after Joss Whedon took over 2017's Justice League. Now, after years of campaigning for Netflix to bring back the Snyderverse, there is actually a chance that it could happen. Netflix is interested in buying Warner Brothers Discovery, exploring a bid for DC's parent company, and if the deal happens, the Snyderverse could return. Now, I know a lot of people that would love that. That would be very excited for that to happen. There's a lot of fucking Snyder bros out there, and I know they would love this if this actually happened. I mean, the Zack Snyder's director's cut of Batman v Superman and Justice League, I really appreciate those movies. I mean, those director's cuts are not phenomenal. You know, they're not phenomenal. They're not fucking Citizen Kane or The Godfather or Goodfellas or like the original Superman, you know. But I really do appreciate those movies. The director's cut of Batman v Superman and the director's cut of Justice League, I think they're really good. I mean, they're both like insanely long. They're both like 4.5 hours for like no fucking reason. But I think for what they needed to be, they're actually really good. But I don't know. The first option, and the one Snyder's fans have been campaigning for years, is that the Snyderverse would return as it was. That means live-action Justice League sequels to see Snyder's vision for the DC team's trilogy fully realised on screen. Given the state of James Gunn's DC universe, which is DC Studios' main focus going forward, this seems unlikely. If DC's Snyderverse were to come back right now, it would probably happen within Netflix itself. As such, any live-action DC movies set in the Snyderverse would have more of a chance to exist as Netflix originals, since Snyder and the streamer have a years-long partnership, which has led to multiple movies. This could happen, though the elevated budgets play against it. I mean, I don't know how much Warner Brothers and DC are going to want 2 competing universes. I don't know how much they're going to want James Gunn's universe and Zack Snyder's universe. I think that's probably going to mess up business. And it's going to be really fucking confusing for casuals. Because remember, when it comes to getting people into the theatres and getting people to watch on streaming services and then buy merchandise, buy the games, blah blah blah, you need the casuals. The studios rely on the casuals. The other way in which DC's Snyderverse could come back in live action is if the franchise were to fully migrate from a movie series to a TV show. Zack Snyder's version of DC would make for an exciting Elseworlds universe through a limited series. Netflix knows how to produce high-quality event series with shows like Stranger Things, The Witcher and The Sandman putting their budgets on screen. Netflix is the perfect home for premium Justice League limited series. Instead of making a Justice League movie trilogy, Snyder could fulfill his plans with 2 seasons, each adapting his ideas for one of the original movie sequels. Zack Snyder's Justice League was almost released in a 4-part limited series format on HBO Max, so there is a precedent. And I mean, Marvel did that show called What If, that animated show What If, that was just on Disney Plus, where it's like each episode is telling an alternative story, you know. Each episode is a new what if scenario, and they're telling these alternate stories that veer off, you know, and they just do their own thing. And it doesn't matter because it doesn't interfere with the main canon. It doesn't matter because they're in other universes, so it doesn't matter. There's no consequences, and you can just do any fucking story you want. You can just go crazy with it. DC should do that. DC should do that. Because there's a lot of people who still love, like, the Zack Snyder universe and that storyline. So a DC What If on Netflix, on HBO Max, wherever it would be, I think would do really well. I think it would. I think that is I think they're missing out on that opportunity right now to do that. Finally, the most likely option if the Snyderverse were to return as part of Netflix's interest in buying Warner Brothers Discovery is that the franchise would return in animation, given the divisive nature of the DCEU, which saw all of its final 4 releases in 2023 underperform at the box office. It would not make sense to revive the live-action franchise. Instead, Netflix could let James Gunn's DCU continue to lead DC in the movie space, with Snyder's DC franchise existing as an Elseworlds animated movie series. DC is known for interconnected stories in animation that have nothing to do with the theatrical universes, like the recently concluded Tomorrowverse or the announced 4-part Batman Nightfall movie franchise. Snyder has already commented on the possibility, revealing that he would be open to completing his DC plans in animation. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. And I mean, DC haven't been doing too well with their last few movies. I mean, they were doing pretty good. They were doing decent for, a while. They had a decent sort of 3 or 4 movie run. And now the last few movies have been bombing. And they haven't been doing too well. And they are in need of a comeback. Superman didn't do what it needed to do commercially or critically. Wasn't the slam dunk that they needed. Joker 2, absolute fucking nightmare of a movie, absolute nightmare fuel of a movie. If you still haven't seen Joker 2, spare your sanity and don't fucking watch it. They had Shazam 2, You know, they've had quite a few bombs recently, and they're in need of a comeback. And Zack Snyder still has a lot of support. He still has a lot of fans that loved his universe, his storylines. So that DC are in need of something big to make a comeback, because James Gunn's Superman earlier this year just wasn't what it needed to be. So I think they're panicking slightly. Might be the reason for this sale. I don't know. But I think in order for Zack Snyder to come back, I think it's going to need to be Netflix buying the company. If Netflix ends up being the ones who buy DC and Warner Brothers, then I think there's a strong chance that we see Zack Snyder come back. If it ends up being Saudi Arabia, I don't think they're going to give a fuck. If it ends up being bought by someone else, I don't think they're going to give a fuck. If we want to see Zack Snyder come back, I think it's going to have to be Netflix who take charge. I think that's the only way that it can happen. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover. So yeah, see you later.